and welcome to my channel for a Patch. I am starting a series of painting tulips for the spring. They are now starting to grow in the garden. I've got this beauty in my garden I plucked this morning, and also there's loads in the shop at the moment. And I thought before starting to show you how to draw one and to paint one, I will make a video about the anatomy of the tulip. It is always easier to draw something if you know what you're looking at, if you know what you're looking for. So what is a tulip made of? There is usually one flower per stem, so you have your stem coming in like this, and the pedicel is just before that bit, and then you have the receptacle here, which is where all the other parts of the flower are going to join the stem. So it comes out like this, like the top of a column, and this is where everything is going to join. At the top of that you have the pistil, which is the superior ovary that comes in the center of the tulip, and then at the top of that you have the style where it becomes narrower, and the stigma. Now the stigma looks something like this, and if you see it from the top it will do something like this. It's in three parts, and that would be it seen from the top, but if you see it from the side it looks something like this. Around the base of the ovary here you have the stamen. So the stamen are made of filaments that are the long stalks, and at the top of that you have the anther, which is sort of tear-shaped, and usually that's black. Now for a traditional tulip, the native wild tulips, there are 6 petals and 6 stamen and 1 pistil in the center. Now obviously tulips have been one of the most fiddled with plants in human history, and now you have any number of petals, even sometimes the stamens, you know, they've been so altered over the years that they have lost their true self. But your traditional one, the original one, here we go, 6 petals and 6 stamen. So this is the one I'm going to explain, because you might have a tulip with 100 petals, and then all of these will get completely disorganized. So the base of the stamen here, they touch each other, so you will have one in front of here too, and then one here. So they touch here at the base. And there's one behind here which doesn't show, and then one here, so that's 6 of them with the black stamen. I'm using a very black pencil so that you don't have trouble seeing what I'm doing. If I use an HB you won't see a thing. Now the petals, they're not actually petals, they're called tepals, and the reason they're called tepals is that they are halfway between a petal and a sepal. So on a tulip, if you look at the back, there is no sepal. These are the sepal, but then if you say these are the sepal, you look at the other side, there is no petal. So there's this other term that is a tepal, which is a sort of very waxy petal, which is in fact a sepal. So we have 6 tepals. I think it's really silly, the word tepal. For some reason I can't cope with the word tepal, so I usually call them petals. But yeah, that's not the right word for them. Now if you were to look at the pistil from the top, the shape is more or less hexagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you have 3 petals that grow in front, and then the other 3 are the backup system to close the flower tightly, and they grow behind this. So you have to keep in mind when you draw your flower that some are on the inside, these 3 are on the inside, and these 3 are on the outside. So what that means when you're looking at your tulip here is that you have one petal that's here, and the petals start at the same points as the stamens do. So these are facing, and then there will be one at the back here and one at the back here, and then there's one starting here towards the back. This is a very open tulip. I plucked it from the garden this morning, it was completely shut, but then I put it in the studio and it is so sunny in here today. It's absolutely beautiful day. It's completely open, which is actually very useful to demonstrate this. So you have one in front, the one in front, and then one at the back. So the central veins are still going towards the center. So they all need to join here. So every single petal will have a central vein that joins here, even from behind there. Don't forget that. You don't want to suddenly put a petal sort of here and doing the veins here, that's going to go nowhere. It needs to join here, always. That's your anchor point. This is where everything joins. The top of the stem joins here, the middle of the pistil joins here, every stamen joins here, and every central vein of every teple goes there too. And that shows even better at the back. You can see that the base of each petal here circles around the top of the stem, and every central vein joins that stem as well, even the ones behind here. Okay, now let's look at what each petal looks like. So if you start by doing the central vein and the base here, it's usually that sort of shape, but again that's a very sort of cartoonish petal to show you the structure of it. Every different species of tulip will have a different sort of shape, but that's what we're looking at. The one I have here, the outside petals are like this, but the inside petals are heart-shaped, which is very pretty. It's a very pretty tulip. It doesn't smell, but some of the orange ones have got a scent as well, which is pretty amazing. So as far as veining is concerned, you have one central vein, but you also have another few, so that you end up with several central veins here, parallel, and then from that you've got the ones that go to the side that follow back this pattern. So keep that in mind when you're doing your washes or your drawing. They're slightly curved from the center to the edge, and they do that on the other side too. Now let's have a look at what the leaves are doing. I've got a very beautiful stem here. It's got a lovely curl and beautiful leaves as well. I think I might have to paint that one before it's too late. I think it's going to be too late very soon. So every leaf that you're going to do has got to wrap around the stem. So what I see people doing quite often when I teach is to do their leaves like that, and then they just go nowhere here. You have to curve them back to the stem, because one side of it will go behind and one side of it will go at the front, and they will wrap around that stem here. So you have to continue the stem through here in order to check that what you've done is actually possible. And then because they wrap around, the stem just gets a little bit thicker. And you have to make sure that happens with every single leaf that you do. As far as the veining is concerned, it's parallel veining, so all the veins just join like this, all in parallel. It's actually quite an easy veining system to paint. It's not too complicated. I will do another video about it. Okay, so that should be about it for what you're looking for when you're drawing a tulip. Hopefully that will help. Don't forget that your tulip is not necessarily the archetypal tulip that you think it's going to be, so this is not an excuse to not observe your subject. It's just a plan B, a sort of backup plan. If you're a bit confused about your subject, then you can use this to make it a bit clearer and to help you understand what you're looking at. But this is not a replacement. Okay, my next video in the series will be how to actually draw a tulip, because I don't think that qualifies as a drawing of a tulip. It's just to explain some bits, but that's not exactly a drawing. So I'm going to do a next video where I'm actually going to seriously draw a tulip, and then after that I'm going to start some painting videos. I have just set up a Patreon account. For those of you who don't know it, it's a sort of subscription account. There's a link in the box below, and what it does is that you can join my Patreon account for $3 a month, and there will be some extra videos that you can access that nobody else can access. I will also do shout outs of people who are kind enough to support me. There'll still be plenty of free videos to watch, but I will make some more just for the people who are supporting me a little bit. And I will do a post on my website as well to give more detail about this, but there is a link in the box below if you want to have a look. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Thank you. Bye.